Welcome in, everyone. Welcome to Football Friday. Got a long weekend coming up. Good weekend in college football. Some nice matchups. Limiting the amount of teams undefeated now. Getting into college football week 5, NFL week 4, full slate on Sunday, including a London game, our first international game of the season. So we will talk about that. Precursor to the show, don't have Logan's picks yet, but we'll get him on here and update his record next Friday. But starting off, and college football recap. We had 2 games last night. We're only going to look at one because the other one was South Carolina State, FCS versus FBS. But this one was the only FBS matchup in on yesterday. So number 19 BYU 38-26 over Utah State. Jaron Hall, fantastic again, 63%, 274 yards, 3 touchdowns. Cooper Legis surprised me anyways. Very good performance on the road as his first start. But I was impressed by him. It would be interesting to see if Logan Bonner is still the quarterback going forward or not. But Legis, 61.3%, 188 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, 19 carries, 52 yards, a touchdown, and a fumble. Calvin Tyler, great game for him for Utah State. The Aggies, 18 carries, 104 yards, 2 receptions for 18 yards. Christopher Brooks was a monster all night, 8.2 yards per carry for the Cougars and a touchdown. Brian Cobbs, leading receiver in the game, Utah State, 10 catches, 96 yards, 2 touchdowns. Defensively, have to go with my guy. I absolutely love linebacker Max Tooley for BYU. 3 tackles, 2 solos, a sack, 2 tackles for loss, and a 34-yard pick 6. I said BYU was going to score last night and on defense, and they did early. Utah State covered, though, plus 26 over 60. I cashed that one as well. Monday Night Football. Cowboys 23-16 over the Giants. Cooper Rush is now 3-0 as a starter in his career. And also, I believe it's the first player ever to have 3 game-winning drives and win the game in the fourth quarter. But, Rush was good, 67.7%, 215 yards, a touchdown. Daniel Jones, not so great, 54.1%, 196 yards, a pick, 9 carries, 79 yards. He did kill the Cowboys defense with his legs. I know I cashed the under by the hook. I got it a whole point above what it landed at 38.5. I got it at 39.5, thankfully for me. Tony Pollard, nice game, 13 carries, 105 yards, 8.1 yards per carry. Saquon is a beast, man. Number 1 running back in fantasy. I'm glad I selected him. Glad I trusted him this year. And the stuff that I was hearing and what he did in the offseason to get healthy and to stay healthy through a 17-game season. But yeah, Saquon, great game, 14 carries, 81 yards, 5.8 yards per carry, a touchdown, 4 catches, 45 yards. His last reception won me my matchup in my law school league. So thank you, Saquon, for getting over 22 points that I needed. CeeDee Lamb, nice game, 8 catches, 87 yards, a touchdown, 12 targets. Wide receiver Sterling Shepard, leading receiver for the Giants, 5 catches, 49 yards on 10 targets. Unfortunately, left the game with a torn ACL. Defensively, how can you go with anyone else other than DeMarcus Lawrence, defensive end for the Cowboys? 6 tackles, all of them solos, 3 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, and 3 QB hits. Was a monster all night. Cowboys +1 covered, over 38.5 hit. Apologies to those people that got it at 38. Thursday night, last night, Bengals 27-15 over the Dolphins. They get to 500. Joe Burrow, 64.5%, 287 yards, 2 touchdowns. Decent night for him. I know anyone that plays Prize Picks, we got the Taco Tuesday promo on Tuesday. Nice to devalue his yardage to 245 yards. Instead, I think it was at 265. So he still cashed anyways, but much easier at 245. Teddy Bridgewater had to come into this game. Scary situation for Tua Tagovailoa. Hit his head for the second straight game, 4 days removed from getting injured against the Bills and returning to that game with what the Dolphins said was a back and neck injuries. Has a concussion now. The investigation is ongoing as to whether he should have been allowed to return to that Bills game last Sunday. But Teddy B, he came in and was very good. 14 of 23, 60.9%, 193 yards, a touchdown, a pick, 1 carry for 11 yards. Tua, while he was in, 8 of 14, 57.1%, 110 yards, and a pick. Raheem Mostert, the leading ball carrier on the night, 15 carries, 69 yards, 2 catches for 12 yards. And I didn't understand the game plan from Zach Taylor. They continue to run the ball ineffectively, but Joe Mixon somehow ended up with 24 carries, 61 yards, averaging 2.5 yards per carry and a touchdown, 4 catches for 13 yards. I guess it kept the Dolphins defense honest, but it was just a paltry running game at 2.5 yards per carry. Chase Edmonds caught a receiving touchdown there late in the game. Wide receiver Tyreek Hill, T. Higgins, they both went off. Tyreek's 10 receptions, 160 yards, 14 targets for him. T. Higgins, 7 catches, 124 yards, a touchdown on 9 targets. Hayden Hurst also scored in the game. And defensively, have to go with safety Von Bell. I really want to go with Sam Hubbard, but Von Bell for the Bengals, 4 tackles, all of them solos, 2 pass deflections, and 2 picks. The turnovers are key there. He got the game-sealing turnover to get the Bengals in position to get the extra pad on there with another touchdown to Hayden Hurst. Bengals -4 covered. I cashed that one under 49. NCAA news, we have another school on probation. Air Force placed on 2-year probation for recruiting violations during the COVID-19 dead periods. Their sanctions include reduction of 46 total official visits, ban on unofficial visits from September 1st through October 12th, 4-week ban on recruiting communications during this recruiting cycle, a reduction of 34 evaluation days, and then a reduction of their football roster by 10 for the next 4 years. So Air Force going to be down to 75, I guess, or 70, however many scholarships or however many players they can hold. I'm not sure what the max is for a college team. So, but yeah, Air Force sanctioned by the NCAA now, just like LSU was last week. NFL news, starting off on a somber note. I was shocked, and a lot of people, other people were too, to find out yesterday during the Thursday night game, former Cowboys tight end Gavin Escobar was found dead in an apparent rock climbing accident. 31 years old. I remember Gavin playing for the Cowboys in the 2010s, and a decent player, but just hate to lose people that young. So prayers going out to Gavin's family. family and friends there mourning him. Hurricane Ian will not deter the Chiefs and Bucks from playing in Tampa on Sunday night. The NFL announced that it will continue to the game will stay in Tampa and not move to Minnesota, as was the contingency plan. IR moves. Bears wide receiver Byron Pringle with a calf injury. Jets offensive tackle George Fant. Chargers wide receiver Jalen Guyton. He tore his ACL, done for the year. Seahawks running back Travis Homer has a rib injury. Chargers pass rusher Joey Bosa. He has a groin / core muscle injury. He's going to have surgery. Not season ending, but probably out at least a month for Bosa there. Chargers also placing left tackle Rashawn Slater on IR, and the Bengals did the same with defensive tackle DJ Reader with a knee injury. He's out about 6 weeks. Other injuries, Giants wide receiver Sterling Shepard, he was placed on IR today. Torn ACL, he is out for the year. Browns defensive end Myles Garrett, he was involved in a single car crash. I think I mentioned that on Monday. He has a shoulder sprain and a bicep strain from that, in addition to lacerations. He was cited for going 65 and a 45 reckless, or not reckless, non-control of his vehicle. He is officially questionable this week in Atlanta. Ravens defensive tackle Michael Pierce, he suffered a biceps tear. He is having surgery. He's done for the year. And then I mentioned Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa diagnosed with a concussion after leaving the hospital last night and returning to Miami with the team. Ins and outs for this weekend. Raiders wide receiver Hunter Renfrow, he is out, still dealing with a concussion. Jets quarterback Zach Wilson, he has been cleared to play. He will make his season debut in Pittsburgh against the Steelers on Sunday. Saints wide receiver Michael Thomas, he is out, as is more than likely Saints quarterback Jameis Winston. He is doubtful. Andy Dalton likely to start with Taysom Hill backing him up. Panthers running back Christian McCaffrey, he is questionable, popped up with a quad injury this week. Should be good to go. Lions wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown and running back DeAndre Swift, they are both out. Swift dealing with ankle and shoulder injuries. Bears running back David Montgomery is out. Heavy dose of Khalil Herbert this weekend. Colts linebacker Shaquille Leonard dealing with recovery from his back surgery this offseason. He is finally questionable for a game, so it's a game time decision, I believe, in Indy against Tennessee this weekend. Vikings pass rusher Zadarius Smith, he is questionable with a knee injury. Falcons running back Cordero Patterson, he is questionable with a knee injury as well. Cardinals wide receiver AJ Green, he is out, has a hamstring issue. Also, Cardinals wide receivers Marquise Brown and Rondale Moore, dealing with foot and hamstring injuries, respectively, are both questionable. Cowboys wide receiver Michael Gallup, he is good to go, cleared from his torn ACL rehab, and he will officially make his season debut on Sunday against the Commanders. Patriots quarterback Mac Jones, he has been ruled out with his severe ankle sprain. Brian Hoyer will get the start here in Green Bay. Chargers wide receiver Keenan Allen is also out, still dealing with the hamstring issue. One transaction to talk about, Bills. Lack of corners right now with some guys getting injured. Rookie Christian Benford going on IR. They still don't have Tre'Davious White this week. They'll hope to get him back next week. They signed former Colts wide corner Xavier Rhodes, so hope that he can provide them with some help on the back end as they face the Ravens this weekend. And then just one workout to talk about. The Jags worked out kicker Rodrigo Blankenship. Not sure really why, him and Sam Ficken working out in Jacksonville, but Riley Patterson seems to be doing fine as their kicker right now. College football pick standings. Yeah, Logan and I, 20-7. I can't gain ground on him, man. It's just tough. Mark actually got us by one game last week, so Mark is now 6 back of Logan, 1 back of me. I am still 5 back of Logan and 1 up on Mark. Lone Wolves last week. Logan didn't have any. I went 1-1 on mine. I lost Wake Forest in double OT against Clemson, and I won James Madison coming back from 28-3 against App State. Mark actually went 2-1 in his Lone Wolves. He got Baylor right against Iowa State, Texas A&M right against Arkansas, and then he lost the FCS game of the week, Missouri State hosting South Dakota State. This week, though, Tulane at Houston. We got a bunch of games tonight. There's 5 all in total. We're going to cover 4 of them because they deal with 3-1 teams, and it's all FCS. And 3-1 or better. So, Tulane at Houston. Not sure who Logan is picking, but I am on the Green Wave. I think Houston has been kind of a fraud this year. They were started in the top 25, were ranked there the first 2 weeks of the year, subsequently have lost 2 games. And, I just don't see it from Houston right now. Clayton Tune is a decent quarterback. They have some weapons, Nathaniel Dell, specifically at wide receiver. But I'm going to go with the Green Wave on the road. I already took them plus 2.5, I think, earlier in the day. It's now up to 4. So that's probably a bad thing for me, but we're going to roll with them plus 2.5 tonight, hopefully, and they can win outright in Houston. Mark is on the Cougars, by the way. Over-under is 54.5. I am going to go under. I think the Green Wave defense plays well in this game. 7 p.m. ESPN. UTSA, the Roadrunners at Mid-Tennessee. The Giant Killers last week taking down Miami. Not just taking down, dominating Miami in Coral Gables, Florida. At home, they're home dogs. And Mark and I, we are taking the Roadrunners. Look, Frank Harris, they're 2-2, but Frank Harris in this offense is very good. He, along with Sakari Franklin and DeCorian Corley as well, I think they will be fine and they will get it done on the road. The UTSA defense, I think, will also step up in this game and limit Cunningham's ability on the Blue Raider offense. Over-under is 64. I think we're going to go over in that game. 7:30 CBS Sportsnet. Number 15, Washington, 2.5-point favorites at UCLA. Mark and I are on the Huskies on the road. I have UCLA plus 3, so hopefully we can cover that. It's a close game. UCLA at home in the Rose Bowl. But, the Huskies have been the surprise, I think, of the Pac-12 this year so far. And they're getting a tough test against Chip Kelly at home. But I think Michael Penix has shown enough, and I still am not quite a believer in DTR, even though they're 4-0 as well. Over-under is 66.5. I'm going under that, and 10:30 p.m. ESPN. New Mexico at UNLV. Mark and I believe, are both on the Rebels here at home. New Mexico is not that good, so I think we're going to go with the slot machine on the sideline here and go with the UNLV Rebels at home tonight. Over-under is 44, and I have the under. It's an NFL kind of over-under at 44. I am on the under here. Of course, courtesy, all picks all the bets that I say are courtesy of my guy Parlay Safari. Go follow him on Instagram and Twitter. Great resource to pull picks from. This game is 11 p.m. on CBS Sportsnet. Tomorrow, I will be missing all the 12 o'clock games, but hopefully get back for the 3:30 games. But have a negotiation competition, so hopefully we can win that. But anyways, number 4, Michigan at Iowa. The Wolverines coming in to Kinnick Stadium. It's a game day at Kinnick. If it was a night game, I'd give more consideration to the Hawkeyes, and I think that line would be lower as a night game in Kinnick. But it's a day game at Kinnick, so I'm going to go with the Wolverines. They have been running like crazy. It's a big test against a good defense. One of the best defenses in college football, but I think they still do enough. JJ they're not going to put it in his hands. They're going to give it to Blake Corum, and they're going to get that run game going and score just enough to beat Iowa on the road. Over-under is 42. I think I am obligated in an Iowa game to go under 42. 12 p.m. on Fox. Number 7, Kentucky at number 14, Ole Miss. This line makes absolutely no sense to me. I don't understand. I called Ole Miss the biggest fraud in the top 25 last show. Kentucky had their own issues with NIU last week, but I think Kentucky's a lot better team than they showed against that team. Will Levis is an NFL quarterback, and I think getting Chris Rodriguez back to go along with Cavassier Smoke on offense will make the biggest difference for UK. And I just believe in the Wildcats. I think they're the second best team in the SEC East. So give me Kentucky on the road. Give me the plus 6.5. Eat it up. Over under is 54.5. I'm going to go under that. 12 p.m. on ESPN. Number 18, Ole Miss at TCU. I thought this one will be a lot closer than people think. Oklahoma coming off the devastating loss at home to Kansas State. Horned Frogs 3-0, undefeated still. I think they could have some stuff for OU, but I think the biggest thing, OU, I believe, is 10-1 or 12-1 against TCU since they entered the Big 12. So, yeah, give me the Sooners on the road and a bounce back performance by Dylan Gabriel, Marvin Mims, and that Sooner offense. I don't even know who the quarterback is for TCU because they switch it so often. Chandler Morris, I think, will get the start. Over under is 69. Go under. I like that under there. And we do have picks from Logan, even though he couldn't be on the show. So to recap the games we've gone through so far, I am now lone wolfing Tulane. Logan is lone wolfing Mid-Tennessee at home tonight. We are all together. He is on Washington with us, and he is on UNLV with us as well. Also, he is on Michigan with us and Kentucky. And he is on Oklahoma with us as well. Over under, though, under 69 in this game. 12 p.m. on ABC. Purdue at number 21, Minnesota. Logan is with us on the Golden Gopher train. Or no, he is lone wolfing Purdue at Minnesota. Wow. I don't know how you can lone wolf Purdue in this game. Look, Minnesota's dominant. They're going to win the West in the Big Ten this year. They have Mo Ibrahim running like crazy. Tanner Morgan is doing just enough in the passing game with Chris Ottman-Bell and company. So I think the Golden Gophers win, and I think they cover 12 easily. And my mentee said that they would cover 12 easily, and he is from Indiana, so he knows Purdue football. Much as I love Aiden O'Connell, go Gophers. Over under is 52. I'm going to hit the over button on that one. 12 p.m. ESPN2. Texas Tech at number 25, Kansas State. Logan is in lockstep with us. We are all on the Wildcats coming off a grand upset of Oklahoma. Cannot have a letdown against Texas Tech. I've picked Tech before, but I'm going to go with the Wildcats here because Adrian Martinez continues to be solid. Deuce Vaughn on offense as well. I just think they have what it takes, and they can win this game in what should be a close one. Over under is 57. I'm hitting the over button on that one too. 12 p.m. Big 12 Network, ESPN Plus. Texas State at James Madison. The Monarchs, or the Dukes, the JMU Dukes are 3-0 right now. First season in the FBS. They're living life. Got a nice Sun Belt matchup at home in Harrisonburg against Texas State. Logan's with us on JMU. Yeah, they've looked so good. Todd Centeio has been fantastic, along with all their other weapons on offense. They came back from the big 28-3 lead 28-3 deficit against App State last weekend. So I think they're feeling good, and they'll ride high against Texas State this weekend. Over under is 51.5. I have to go under that, reason being I think JMU's defense limits Texas State's offense, and JMU's offense doesn't score a boatload of points, but they do enough to win the game. This one's 1:30 on ESPN Plus. Oregon State at number 12, Utah, and I am lone wolfing the Beavers. I was surprised Logan did not want to take the Beavers as road dogs. Look, Chance Nolan, they had USC, man. They had them. They were up 13-10 late in the game. USC scored with 1:30-ish to go. Couldn't drive down the field and get the game-winning touchdown. But they have surprised some people so far this year, and I think they're going to get a surprise. They are going to upset number 12 Utah at home. And the Beavers are going to chomp their way into a 4-1 record and a top 25 appearance this week. Over under is 54.5. That's going to be under. 2 p.m. on Pac-12 Network. Number 2, Alabama at number 20, Arkansas. Logan's with us on Alabama. It's going to be a little bit harder going to Fayetteville this year as opposed to in Tuscaloosa, where Arkansas gave them a good game last year. I think I would take Arkansas plus 17. Had some offensive struggles against A&M's very good defense last week in Dallas. Should have won the game probably, or at least had the lead and made A&M going down and get a field goal of their own. But some fluky stuff happened, hit the top of the goalpost, which I've never seen in my life. And that's why Arkansas is 3-1 instead of 4-0. But the over-under here is 61. I'm going to go the over on that one. 3:30 CBS, SEC on CBS. Rutgers at number 3, Ohio State. Logan's with us on Ohio State winning this one. 39.5 at home. Rutgers, yeah, they've been good. 3-1. They gave Iowa a game for a little bit last weekend in Jersey, but this is at the Shoe. So Ohio State's going to roll, unfortunately, for Greg Schiano and co. Over under is 58. I'm hitting the over. 3:30 Big Ten Network. Number 9, Oklahoma State at number 16, Baylor. Mark Lone Wolf Baylor and got him last week at Iowa State. Not taking him this week. He's with me on Oklahoma State, and so is Logan. Look, the Cowboys as road dogs, I think, are going to go into Waco and beat up on Baylor. Their running game is good, especially when they get the QB involved in Spencer Sanders, and he can throw the ball all around the field. Give me Oklahoma State on the road against Baylor. think OSU's defense also is going to be a big factor in this one against Blake Shapen. Over-under is 55.5. I'm going to go under. Like I said, I think the defenses stand up in this game here. 3:30 on Fox. ACC matchup, number 22 Wake Forest at number 23 Florida State. And I am lone wolfing. Or no, Mark is lone wolfing the Demon Deacons on the road. Yeah, I think Florida State's defense is good. And they're going to be able to limit the Wake Forest attack on offense. We saw last week, even against what had been a paltry offense by Clemson, Wake Forest doesn't have a defense. So I think that's going to be the biggest factor in this one. Florida State's going to keep scoring, and Wake Forest will not be able to keep up because FSU's defense will get the win, will win the game for them in that regard. Forgot to put a slide in here for my boys Northwestern at number 11 Penn State. All of us are on Penn State. 25-point favorites at home. Northwestern 1-3, Penn State 4-0. Yeah, Nittany Lions are very good against Northwestern. They'll get the win in Happy Valley. Over under is 51 for that game. I think I'm gonna go with just under. I think under 51 on that one. That's 3:30 on ESPN. The Wake Forest Florida State game, that's over under is 64. I'm gonna go with the over, and I think 3:30 on ABC. Iowa State at Kansas. We are all on the Jayhawks. We're behind Lance Leopold. Home dogs in this one. I don't know how Iowa State's favored after they just lost to Baylor at home. But Kansas at home, I think, is going to be very interesting. And I just don't know if Iowa State has the offense to keep up with Jalen Daniels and the Jayhawks. So I think Iowa State's defense is good. We'll see if they can limit the KU offense, but I don't think they will. Give me the Jayhawks at home as dogs. Over under is 59 in this game. I'm going to go under that, and 3:30 on ESPN2. Number 17 Texas A&M at Mississippi State. We're all on A&M. Go Aggies. Again, this is kind of like the Kentucky one. I don't understand what the bookmakers are seeing in terms of making lines for these SEC road dogs when they're ranked higher. Mississippi State's not even ranked, but they're 3-1. I just haven't seen enough from Mississippi State offensively to believe that they can stand up against A&M's defense. So give me A&M, give me Jimbo's defense, and Max Johnson does enough like they did last week against Arkansas in Jerry World. Over under is 45. Sure, let's go under that. Why not? 4 p.m. SEC Network. Wagner at Syracuse. Yeah, we're all on Syracuse. This should not be a game. It's in the Dome. Q should have a nice day, get to 5-0, which would be crazy. Syracuse 5-0. When have we seen that? Not in my lifetime, or not since I've been watching college football a lot. So, yeah, Q's at home. They're gonna roll over the 0-3 Seahawks. 5 p.m. ACC Network Extra and ESPN Plus. Pac-12 matchup, Cal at Washington State. We're all on Washington State. The Cougs had a tough game last week, losing at home to Oregon. I just thought that they were going to get it done. They had a good lead, let it slip away from them eventually. Got a touchdown late to cover because good teams win, but great teams cover. So good thing for Washington State spread betters last week there at the end. But yeah, I haven't watched Cal much this week or this year, so I'm interested to see what they have. I think they have a pretty good defense. So we'll have to see how they can limit Cam Ward and the Cougar offense. But I think Cameron Ward, they should be able to get it done at home for the second straight week. Over under is 53.5. I am going over on that one. And that one's 5:30 p.m. Pac-12 Network. LSU at Auburn, SEC matchup. Yeah, I think we're all on LSU here, and for good reason. Auburn doesn't even know who their quarterback is. Is it Finley? I'm blanking on the other kid's name, but I just think LSU has kind of figured it out after that week 1 loss to Florida State. So they've won 3 in a row. I think LSU can get it done. And Jaden Daniels here on the road. Over under is 46.5. I'm going to go over on that one. And 7 p.m. ESPN. Georgia Southern at Coastal Carolina, the Chanticleers. We're all on that boat. Grayson McCall, love him. Their head coach, love him. And they got the mullets still rolling there at Coastal. So give me the shots at home, the green turf. They're going to beat a decent Georgia Southern team here. Over under is 65. I'm going to go under that and 7 p.m. ESPN Plus. Forgot to put in a slide for number 1, Georgia 4-0, 29-point favorites on the road at Missouri, who is 2-2. Look, the Dogs looked sloppy last week. They needed some adversity. Kirby said they got some against Kent State in Athens, and I think it provided a spark for them. They're going to get hopefully A.D. Mitchell back this week for the offense. Brock Bowers is going to continue to be a beast, and they're going to beat down Mizzou in a show. I think they want to show that they are the number 1 team and and people can't ask the questions that they did last week coming out of that close win. Over under is 54. I'm going over that and 7:30 SEC Network. Georgia Tech at I forgot to number 10 NC State at number 5 Clemson. This is the big one this weekend. And I really wanted to pick NC State. We're all on Clemson. I really did. They got them last year, but that was at NC State, not in Death Valley. It's at night in Death Valley, which is another factor I took into account with this pick. So give me Clemson. I hate to do it. I hate picking them, but give me Clemson at home as the favorites. Over under is 44. I'm going to go under. I think both defenses are going to limit the offenses here in this one. 7:30 ABC. Georgia Tech at number 24 Pitt. Yeah, Pitt should beat down Tech at home at Acrisure Stadium. Keaton Slovis, I think, will be back for this game, hopefully. So we'll have to wait and see after, because I know I probably will not watch this game. I'll be watching other games. But yeah, Pitt should roll in this one. More than likely they cover here. Over under is 49. I am going to go over, I think. 8 p.m. ACC Network. Arizona State at number 6 USC. We're all on the Trojans in this game here. Yeah, USC should continue to roll. They struggled against Oregon State last week. They're back at home, though. So I think they will put down an Arizona State team that's struggling mightily very quickly. and this game will be over by the halftime. Over under is 60.5. I'm going to go over on that one. 10:30 ESPN. Stanford at number 13, Oregon. We're all on the Ducks, so I think they can get it done at home. Great win last week in a comeback effort against Washington State on the road. Come back home to Eugene. Stanford had a tough game against Washington last week on the road, so they come back and they go to Eugene. I don't see it happening. The upset will not occur in this game. Give me the Ducks at home. Over under is 62.5. I'm gonna go under or over that one, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it. Over 62.5. 11 p.m. FS1. We do have one game on Sunday. It was moved from Saturday to Sunday because of Hurricane Ian. So Eastern Washington traveling to Florida to the swamp. Yeah, the Gators should get it done here. Eastern Washington ranked in the top 25 of the FCS poll. So it's not a rollover game here. But yeah, Florida should be able to get this done in relatively easy fashion. In a get back game after the loss at Tennessee last weekend. This game is 12 p.m. on ESPN Plus. FCS game of the week, number 17 Richmond at number 23 Elon. I am lone wolfing the Phoenix. This is a great mascot matchup. Spiders versus the Phoenix. I just think Elon has the better wins. When you look at who each team has faced, right? Elon has beaten some good teams. And I don't think the quality of teams that Richmond has won against has been as good. So that's why I'm taking Elon. You look at Richmond they lost week 1 by 17 against Virginia, and then they beat St. Francis by 10, Lehigh by 24, and Stony Brook by 44. But Elon, they also lost week 1. Closer, though, they lost by 11 to Vanderbilt, and then shut out Wofford on the road 26-0. They beat Gardner-Webb 30-24, and then they just upset William and Mary last week 35-31 on the road at the Tribe. So give me the Phoenix at home. I think they're going to upset another top 25 team in Richmond, and they're gonna stomp out the Spiders in this game. That one is at 2 p.m. on Saturday. NFL pick standings. Yeah, it was absolutely abysmal for Mark and I last weekend. Don't really know how else to say it, but yeah. Very, very bad. Logan continued. He actually moved into the top spot. Mark moved down to second. Was one game behind him, but yeah, Logan has a good lead on us now. 4 up on Mark, 5 up on myself. He's the only one of us 3 that has a winning record right now, so we got to get it figured out. 9-5 for him last week, and he went 5-0 on Lone Wolves. Just crazy. 5-0 Lone Wolves, Logan. So props to you there. He got the Bears right at home against the Texans, the Titans right on the road against the Raiders, the Vikings at home against the Lions, he got right, the Falcons on the road against the Seahawks, and the Packers on the road against the Bucks. All those he got right. I was 1-0 on my Lone Wolves. I got the Panthers right So good for me, but not good enough to help my overall picks for last week. So we're gonna get it turned around this week, though. Mark and I will. But Vikings at the Saints. This one is in London. And we are all on the Vikings. I think it's going to be a good game for Minnesota. Kirk Cousins in the offense. Saints missing Michael Thomas, probably Jameis Winston as well. Andy Dalton's going to start with limited weapons. So, and I think they're not going to play Taysom Hill as much with him being the backup quarterback in this game. So give me the Vikings. Give me the 3 points on the road. Technically, the away team in London. Over under is 41 and a half. I don't know. Over under is 41 and a half. I'm going to go under that, I think. Just under. Gets like 40 or something like that. 9:30 a.m. on NFL Network. Jags at the Eagles. Yeah, we're all on Philly, I believe. No, Logan is on the Jags. Lone wolfing Jacksonville in Philly. Yeah, sorry, Logan. Doug Peterson, just like Carson Wentz, is going to have an issue with facing the Eagles. His former team won a Super Bowl. He's going to get recognition at the beginning of the game. The fans are going to love him then for just a second, and then they're going to go back to hating him because it's Philly, and we don't like teams that come into our house. So give me the Eagles, the only undefeated team in the NFL right now. Will continue to stay that way, and they'll go to 4-0 on the year. Over under is 45 and a half. I'm going to go over on that one. Jets at the Steelers. We're all on the Steelers here. I think Zach Wilson is returning to a difficult opponent. Not as difficult without TJ Watt, but Alex Highsmith, Cameron Hayward and company, they have been very good on defense. Even despite the 1-2 record, it's not because their defense, it's because their offense is not taking advantage of the defensive turnovers and stops that they're getting. So need the offense to step up, and I think we'll have to see Kenny Pickett at some point. Over under is 41 and a half. I'm going under on that one. Zach Wilson's return, not very pretty. Browns at the Falcons. We are all on Cleveland. I would just hammer the -1 here. Look, Jacoby Brissett's looked fantastic. The Falcons got their first win of the season last week. I don't pay too much attention to that. It was against the Seahawks, who have been better than people thought. The Falcons have as well competed more than what they thought they would with Marcus Mariota. But I think Cleveland, even without Myles Garrett potentially, he's questionable. I think he might play. We'll have to see. But I think Cleveland can get it done regardless. The Brissett to Cooper connection has really flourished the last 2 games. I think that continues against the secondary. That's not that great in Atlanta. Over under is 47. I'm going under that one. Commanders at the Cowboys, all stars across the board. Yeah, Cooper Rush has looked great as a Dallas Cowboy so far. Again, 3-0 in his career as a starter, once last year, and 2 this year. So I think that Dallas gets it done again. Their defense stifles Carson Wentz just like the Eagles did last week. Over under is 41 and a half. Gonna have to go with the under. Seahawks at the Lions. Mark is lone wolfing the Seahawks. Geno Smith and co. coming into Detroit. Was on the Lions last week. I think I picked the Lions every week so far, except week 1 against the Eagles. But Yeah, I just look, Detroit's 1-2, but they're not out of it. Obviously, it's only 3 weeks. I think they can get a game back, get to 500, and see where things go from there. Um, over under in this one is 48. 48. I have to go with the under though. Titans at the Colts, AFC South matchup. And Mark is lone wolfing just like he did last game. He is lone wolfing the Colts at home. Logan and I are on the Titans. I think because Ryan Tannehill had a good game last week against the Raiders. Derrick Henry resurfaced and they got the running game going. Shaquille Leonard is questionable for the first time this year, so he could possibly make his season debut. I don't think it will be in a full-time capacity. His first game back if he does play. So give me Derrick Henry, and I think the Titans can win in Indy. Over under is 43. I'm gonna go with over on that one. Bears at the Giants. We are all on the G-men getting a bounce back at home against Chicago. No David Montgomery. Khalil Herbert filled in that role nicely last week against the Texans when Monty went down. But I don't think it's going to matter. I think the Giants defense is probably the best defense the Bears have played all year, other than San Francisco, but San Francisco was in the slot game. So yeah, Justin Fields, just the Bears are not good. They're 2-1, but they're not good. They haven't faced anyone on a fair weather game that has been decent. So yeah, give me the Giants at home. Over under is 39.5. But we're gonna take the under. So great times. 39.5. Just like Monday Night Football was. Bills at the Ravens. Mark is lone wolfing once again. He's got the Bills. Logan and I are on the Ravens. I think the Bills secondary is going to be their biggest Achilles heel of this season. They are desperate to get Tre'Davious White back. Jordan Poyer's nicked up. Hyde is out for the year. And I think that the Ravens are going to get a win at home against the Bills. As much as Josh Allen can do, he can't play defense, as far as we know. Over under is 51. I'm going to go with the over. I think the Ravens games have all gone over so far in the first 3 weeks. Chargers at the Texans. Yeah, we're all on LA. Justin Herbert's second game back after he had his rib cartilage issue against Kansas City. So give me LA on the road. I hate picking against Texans again. I still think they can get their over in wins, 4.5, whatever. But not going to be this week. Even without Keenan Allen, I think that the Chargers can still do enough to get the win on the road in Houston. Over under is 45. I think I'm going to go with the under in that one. It's going to land at 44. Cardinals at the Panthers. I am lone wolf in the Panthers. What's new? Second week in a row, I'm going to do that. They're home favorites by 1 point. The Cardinals secondary is terrible. I think Panthers and Baker Mayfield take advantage of that. I think Christian McCaffrey continues his resurgence, possibly goes over 100 yards for the third straight game, and we get him more involved in the passing game to make the offense open up a little bit more. And the Panthers defense has been one of the more underrated defenses in the league so far. Over under is 43.5. I'm going to go under that, I think. Rams Cardinals last week ended at 38, so under 43.5, I think makes sense. 425 games. Patriots at the Packers. and we are all on the G, Power G here. Yeah, Brian Hoyer is not going to get it done. He's not going to come to Lambeau and win. So give me Aaron Rodgers. Hopefully Romeo Dobbs steps up again this week, and I can look at starting him in the future in fantasy. Over-under is 40.5. I'm going to go just under that. Broncos at the Raiders, AFC West matchup. Logan is lone wolfing the Broncos. Yeah, something's got to give, and I think the Raiders are going to be able to finally get their first win of the Josh McDaniels era here at home against the Broncos. So the offensive issues for Denver are just too stout for me to not give Derek Carr and Devontae Adams the benefit of the doubt, even though the Broncos defense is pretty good and the Raiders is not that good. So we'll have to see. But give me the Raiders and Derek Carr. Sunday Night Football. Chiefs at the Bucks. This is a pick'em game. And Mark is lone wolfing the Bucks. They could get emotional response and an emotional response from the city, possibly. With Hurricane Ian, everyone wants to gather together. But I just think the Chiefs want to rebound from the loss in Indy last week. Bucks also coming off a loss against the Packers at home. Tough one to swallow there. I think the Bucks defense is pretty good, but the lack of weapons for Tom Brady showed against the Packers, even though they still almost came back and tied that game. But I think the Chiefs can get it done, and their defense can hold up against the lack of quality receivers there in Tampa. Over-under is 45.5. I'm going to go under. Primetime games have gone under, it seems, as of late. So 8:20 on NBC Sunday night. Best bets of the week. 2-1 last week. We're one game under 500, so it's looking pretty decent at this point. We had 1-2, 1-2, and then 2-1. So hopefully we can hit the 3-0 this week. Every NFL game is under 10, and most are under 7. So it should be a close game week for the spreads. But here's the 3 I like. The Vikings -3 at the Saints in London. Already said, no Michael Thomas. Andy Dalton's probably going to start. Got to give that advantage to the Vikings defense and the Vikings offense as a whole. So, yeah, give me the Vikes in London. And give me the Browns at the Falcons. -1. They should cover that easily. And I think they can win that game easily as well in Atlanta against a secondary that's not good other than A.J. Terrell. And then the Ravens +3 against the Bills. I think the Ravens are going to win that outright. So give me them +3. NFL lock standings. Logan lost his lock last week. Yeah. Best bets last week. How I got the 2-1. I lost the Texans by the hook +2.5 at the Bears. Got the Lions +6 at the Vikings, and the Rams -3.5 at the Cardinals. Locks last week. Logan lost the Chiefs. They lost in Indianapolis. So there you go. He lost that one. And then Mark and I, we won. Mark got the Bengals over the Jets, and I got the Rams over the Cardinals. 2-1 for Mark and I, 1-2 for Logan. Locks this week, Logan. He is going with the Chargers. 5.5-point favorites at Houston. Believes that Justin Herbert without Keenan Allen will get it done. I am not as confident, but I do. Obviously, so we all picked LA to win that game. I am going with the Steelers playing the Jets. It's usually safe to pick against the Jets, so I'm going to do it here. The Pittsburgh defense should rule the day, and hopefully we can see Kenny Pickett on offense sooner rather than later. Mark is going with the Vikings in London. I like that pick. I think they can get it done. I've said many things about the Vikings and why they should win. So Mark should get a win in his lock this week. Dog standing. This is where Mark cannot get a win. He is 0-6 in locks so far. 0-2 last week. Logan and I we're steady. We're keeping that 500 thing going here. 1-1 for both of us. We were both on the Lions +6. They covered last week, didn't win outright. Mark, however, just like my best bet, lost by the hook. Texans +2.5. Hard to see that. Hard to swallow that one. So Logan this week, he is on the Ravens +3 at home against the Bills. Again, Mark is lone wolfing that game. So Logan and I, my best bet, Ravens +3. His dog is Ravens +3. We are going for the Ravens. Think they should win that one outright. He should get some points there. I'm going with the Titans +3.5 at the Colts. Look, I picked Tennessee outright. Mark is lone wolfing Indy at home. I think that Derrick Henry and they've got that offense finally rolling. The Robert Woods, Tannehill to Woods connection has grown, and I think that should continue to grow there. And Tennessee wins on the road. Mark, he is going. Mark is going to go with the. Give me a sec here. Mark's dog this week, I think he is picking the Seahawks +3.5 at the Lions is what he is going with. I think that's the only dog he picked. So I think that's who Mark is going to go with. Yeah, Mark's going to go with Seahawks +3.5 at Detroit for his dog of the week this week. He believes in Geno. I do not. Next week, we'll be back. Week 5, NFL. Week 6, college football. We'll be talking NCAA game previews as well as NFL game previews, Thursday night and Monday night recap. And then we'll also talk about some NCAA and NFL news. We'll have the Monday night game to talk about Rams, Niners this week, and then the week 5 kickoff game, Thursday night football, Colts at the Broncos, the Peyton Manning Bowl, and John Elway Bowl to boot. So that is the show for today. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and Twitter, FAA at FAA_bets on Twitter as well. We've hit our last couple. We're inching closer to 500. We are now 6-10-1 there. And then FAApodcast.com is our website. You can check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, and Apple